Now I'm at the point you wanna be with me. I'm vibing out at a higher frequency, cause everything that I want and I'm gonna be, it's when I wake up, that's when I start to dream. Someone you love is talking down, here is the plan. Let it fall through like a handful of sand. Nothing happens overnight, what you must understand. If you dwell on the bad, then you don't stand a chance. Something you want upset, saying why it ain't mine yet. That's because now you have yet to change your mindset. People don't put their mind to rest while they're so wired. A lot of people go to sleep and wake up tired. Power of positivity and persistence. Say that I can, we'll just sit back and witness. Make an impact when our time is done. Make money, help people, and have lots of fun. Whoa.
Welcome to Office Hours, hosted by legendary sports executive, entrepreneur, and investor David Meltzer, where the brightest entrepreneurial minds in business, sports, and entertainment get together to talk about success, failure, and everything in between.
I have no self-worth tied up in Gary Vee or Gary Vaynerchuk, the entrepreneur. My self-worth is fully and utterly 100% attached to how I treat human beings.
And I think love is the answer to everything as well. Love and compassion and justice and fairness, and which are all aspects of love.
The most important question anybody can ask is, what would I do and love every day, even if I were failing?
Take a deep dive into the mind of some of the world's most impactful guests.
And the reality is, life here on Earth is very short compared to eternity, and we don't spend a lot of time thinking about eternity and what that looks like.
People get new computers, they get the new iPhones, they upgrade their apps. And when's the last time we upgraded, the technology that's created all of these things?
So I always challenge my audience and people I talk to about, sometimes is there a door in your life you have to close for other doors to open?
To share their strategies and tools to dominate their respective fields.
When we repeat anything, whether it's a constructive good pattern or a destructive bad pattern, our brain reinforces it just like a muscle.
All a belief is a story that you've said over and over again. Maybe you caught it from someone else or you had a specific experience.
Know who you are, know what you want, and make adjustments trying to get there.
David Meltzer hosts Office Hours.
Happy, my brother. It's the Friday trainings today. If you can hang out, Glenn, we got a training on the flow, and something a lot of people don't understand. There's a formula to being in the flow, and everything's easy, and it dissipates the dis-easy when you're in the flow, in the zone, whether it's in sports or business or your personal relationships. It is amazing how the flow works and how big the hoop looks, how large the hole looks when we're in the flow, how easy things are. But I'm going to let and start off with one of our friends, Glenn, our man, Nick of WOM. We're actually launching a podcast together. I couldn't help myself. Not that I have enough going on, but we're going to do a Well-Oiled Machine podcast on Tuesdays with the Nick of WOM, the Well-Oiled Machine. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick a day from my calendar, and we are going to discuss the subtleties of success, how to be a student of the calendar, how we categorize things as non-negotiable, hybrid negotiable, and negotiable behaviors. What little tips and tricks can we utilize in order to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful with the incremental time that we're given each day, that 24 hours that we're guaranteed every day, except for the last day of your life. And I'm proud of this 25-year-old that he's going to be part of this podcast. And I think it's a unique conversation that we get a lot of questions asked beyond the questions people ask me about the flow and the flow formula. But Nick Awan, why don't you catch up with G. Lundy, the amazing Glenn Lundy, with where we're going to be. Maybe he can come, since we're in like 6 cities in 5 days. Maybe he can come visit us. I think we're going to be close to Kentucky, or maybe he's traveling. Why don't you go ahead and set the room, and then we'll get started with this Friday training.
Absolutely, and happy Friday, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we are streaming everywhere for David's Free Friday trainings, all across all platforms, as well as here live in the Breakfast with Champions, the best room and community in Clubhouse. As David mentioned, today's training topic is the flow formula. So David is going to guide us for the first 30 minutes and help expand our perspectives, and then we'll open things up for Q&A. So if you are joining us online, please make sure to put your questions in the chat. And of course, if you are live here on Clubhouse, if you're in the audience, please use the hand icon in the lower right-hand corner of your screen to request to join the stage. And if you're already on stage, just please put a note in the room chat that you have a question, and I'll be happy to pass it over your way. Now, of course, we love to invite but not obligate everybody to join us. And coming off of the holiday weekend, next week, we are going to be in Vancouver for Web Summit. We are going to be in Minneapolis hosting one of our VIP dinners and a community meetup. We're going to be in Atlanta for the Pivot Summit with Shane So, Ben Mala, and many, many others. And then on Saturday the 31st, we're going to be in Nashville for the Fire Walk with Bucky O'Neill. And then on the following Tuesday the 3rd, we're going to be in Orlando, Florida for our friends at the Aspire Business Tour. Of course, we'll be there with Barbara Cochran and David Goggins, and the list goes on and on and on of all of our incredible friends. We want to invite everybody to come and join us in person. These are invitations, but not obligations. And if you would like to join us, please make sure to reach out to David directly. David@dmeltzer.com. But more importantly, join the text community. David and I need it more than anybody else because it gives us the reminders on where we're going to be. And that's just 949-298-2905. And you'll be able to find those both here in the room chat on Clubhouse, as well as in the chat if you are joining us online. So with that said, David, I will not take up any more of our time here. Let's get started with the flow formula training, and I'll see you at halftime as we transition to some Q&A.
Well, I appreciate that, Nick, and appreciate everyone being here. Just as a reminder, if you'd like the exercise or guide or a book, just email me directly. I will be happy to send it. The flow formula coaching guide and exercise, I'll send that to you for if your notes, if I talk too fast or are incomplete, feel free just to email me. I'll send that to you, obviously. All right, let's get started with the flow formula. Let's all get into the flow. Let's make life easy. Let's identify and dissipate the dis-easy. In a world that celebrates hustle and relentless productivity, we often forget the most powerful resources we already possess: intention, rest, and trust. These are the key to unlocking a full potential and aligning with the natural flow of everything for everyone, the natural flow of an infinite, abundant, unified system of thought, which we are just interfering with. This flow is for all aspects of life. The flow formula is to receive the answers that are already within you, that you are part and parcel of, that offers a simple yet transformative framework to seed, to sleep, and to solve. This guide, which I will send to everyone, as I mentioned, David@dmeltzer.com, will help you tap into that inner wisdom, intuition, intelligence, and inspiration. It will cultivate the clarity and allow solutions to emerge naturally without the need to be in control or to force them. By following this process of the flow formula, you'll learn how to shift from striving to receive, making space for the creativity of the more than enough of everything for everyone, the peace and the ease to allow it to flow, and of course, the success that comes along with it, the passion, the purpose, and the profitability in your life. The first lesson in the flow formula is to seed. This is the power of the definiteness of purpose, the power of intentional planting. What you cultivate in your mind will shape your reality, or better. When you intentionally plant seeds of good behavior, positivity, clarity, and purpose, you're aligning yourself with the universe's natural flow. Focusing on what you can give rather than what you need amplifies your impact and exponentially creates outcomes and draws the right people, places, things, opportunities, situations, and events to you. Understanding this is a matter of frequency, that what we pay attention to, these seeds, and what we give intention to by doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing will equal this coinciding of the universe, the flow formula. This will set your frequency every day. Understanding how we determine good or bad in that behavior is simply by what you want, not what's missing, not what you don't have, not what other people want for you. And anything in that trajectory or frequency of what you want is good behavior, and that which interferes with it is bad behavior. That bad behavior is interfering with the natural flow, and the flow formula has to extract all of the bad behavior, or at least minimize it by dissipating the amount of time that we spend interfering with the flow. So we set this frequency every day, and we are capable of choosing different thoughts and words, actions and beliefs, and even our feelings. And those that we choose in the framework of gratitude, of finding the light, the love, and the lessons when there's no evidence, or the evidence is contrary to where we want to be, or setting and choosing that intention of service, or abundance, just the belief there's more than enough of everything, that enables you with faith to not only receive and be worthy of everything you're given, but to ask for even more. How about just the mere aspect of joy to seed your mind with the positivity, the good behavior, the good energy that will get you to where you want to be, or better, by accelerating you towards it, aggregating all the resources that are available at all times in order to create an exponentiality that only abundance can provide. It is seeding this through these everyday frequencies of what we do, say, think, feel, and believe along the lines of gratitude, abundance, service, and joy, to seed ourselves to grow in an accelerated, aggregated, and compounding exponential way. We need to ask bigger. We need to ask more often. Ask that bigger question. Instead of asking, what should I do? Shift to, how can I serve with what I have? Instead of saying, I'll be happy when, say, when it happens, for the sake of others, I will be happy. This reframes your approach and opens up so many new avenues for that clarity and harmony, and the focus of attention and the inspiration, intuition, intelligence for the intention to create those coincidences of the flow formula. We need to create daily seeding practices, all types of activities like journaling our challenges, journaling our lessons, journaling our stories, journaling our desires. You write down, I'm open to receiving clarity about this. I'm open to receiving the big idea about this. I'm open to receiving this for the sake of them. Visualize the outcomes as you desire, as if they already have happened and are already true. Let go of the need to control how things unfold and judge and put conditions or comparison upon the evidence that's presented by the behaviors that you illustrate and actively pursue. Because the evidence will not be there and may even be contrary to where you want to be, or better, because in order to understand the evidence, you would have to know the whole, and the human experience is not the whole. It's an incremental snapshot created by 24 hours a day that you're guaranteed every day of your life. It is an incremental snapshot of the meaning that you give the past, the mistakes, setbacks, failures, shortages, voids, and obstacles, defining moments, and even the historical relevances. It's just a snapshot. And if you're going to create those judgments and conditions and comparisons on a snapshot, of something that's infinite, you're going to be statistically unsuccessful. Therefore, you have to let go of the need to control and use the accountability lessons in order to effectuate a better understanding and better patience for the divine direction, to allow those detours to reveal its divinity and to allow for divine time to reveal the evidence and how it's protecting, promoting love, and perfecting you, not punishing you. In this aspect, we need to plant questions with intention, not separation or interference. The need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, worried, guilty, resentful. How much time do we spend interfering with the flow formula by creating this reaction instead of intention? The universe will respond to you with worthiness, not worry. When we plant the seeds with our good behavior aligned with where we want to be or better, dissipate the bad behavior of how we're interfering with it, we now create the seeds for the formula. We are creating the ingredients for the formula of flow, and in intentionality, plant them. The second lesson is sleep, my favorite third of my life. One in which provides me an exponential advantage in my productivity, my accessibility to others, and my ability to access or receive what I want, and my gratitude, my ability to find the lessons, the light, and the love in things that other people could never find it, just like Viktor Frankl found it in Man's Search for Meaning, knowing that meaning is relativity and the meaning that we give the past is the only limitation in our future, because it will limit your self-image and you'll never overachieve your own self-image. So make sure that the relativity of the sleep and the alchemy of recovery and revelation as a for the sake of others is instituted into what is merely a third of your future. Sleep. Sleep is not just for rest. In fact, most people go to bed at night and wake up more tired than when they went to bed because they're not intentional. They haven't planted the seeds. They have no unwinding routine. They just merely figure it's a physiological event that occurs and it requires no intention. But sleep is the alchemy of recovery and revelation. It is there to recover, which obviously has great aspects on your performance the next day and the next day, but also revelation. It provides you access to the infinite information subconsciously and unconsciously while you recover. It's a vital partnership with the universe, sleep. While you rest, your body, mind, and soul undergo a process of deep rejuvenation and insight, allowing this divine direction, this divine guidance, the detours and the divinity of those, and also the divine time to flow within the context of this formula into your life. Through quality sleep. Now, I've had a sleep coach for now almost 19 years. And I want to be in the Hall of Fame of sleep. I want to be known as the best sleeper because I know if I can be the best sleeper, I'll recover and access more information, which both are proven to increase my own pursuit of my own potential. And within the context of through quality sleep, we can recharge the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional aspects of our incremental pursuits of 24 hours. Remember that in the human experience, it's clearly defined. The human experience is created by the heart starting and ends by the heart stopping. In between the heart starting and the heart stopping, we are given 24 hours a day, every day of our life to utilize in our divine direction. Now, you're guaranteed that 24 hours in order for you to pursue your potential within the divine direction. And then reconciling that with the divine time. Sleep itself is that reconciliation that allows part and parcel of our 24 hours of human experience that's guaranteed every day of our life, except for the last day of our life, in order to facilitate this recovery and revelation that allows us to reorganize, repair, and reveal the insights that are crucial steps in receiving the lessons. So if we are here to learn lessons and the lessons keep on coming until we learn them and You will forget every lesson that you've ever learned, but you have the power to what? Remind, remember, and recollect every lesson that ever was. And this is the purpose of the human experience. It is through our understanding of what did I do to be responsible to attract this or to participate in the perception of it. And most importantly, what am I supposed to learn from it? That's where the control lies. Not in the control of some free will that you can control the circumstances of the day, because you can't. There's only one circumstance of every day that's under control or certain, and that's 24 hours. What you do within it can be non-negotiable to the circumstances, hybrid negotiable to the circumstances, or it can just be circumstantial, which requires prioritization, which requires you to understand what's important to you in the context of the heartbeats and the 24 hours. Then you can make quick decisions on whether or not to do this now or do this next. And then you can pre-prioritize, prioritize, and reprioritize according to that circumstance. But sleep allows you to reorganize, repair, and reveal the insights in this whole process of 24-hour increments. And it allows you to receive the answers by being accountable and asking the big question of what did I do and what am I supposed to learn from it? Now, science meets faith in my life. Wisdom meets faith in all times in the formula of the flow, and the flow formula itself, because it's wisdom and faith that shorten the distance of the dis-ease of the ease of the flow formula. It'll dissipate and dissolve within the context of the 24 hours, this interference of the separation that occurs. And within the context of wisdom, we have even neuroscience today, which is meeting faith. And I think sleep is important to understand in the alchemy of recovery and revelation, that during sleep, your brain processes information, intuition, and inspiration and releases wisdom. This is within the brain's process. It actually shows you where the neuroscience, the neuroplasticity of the brain meets your faith as it releases wisdom with the faith that you don't know what you don't know, the humility, which is aligned with the formula, the flow formula, because humility itself is tranquility of the human experience, of the start and the stop of the heart in the 24 hours of the day. And so during our sleep, we allow the neuroscience to meet our faith, so that when the evidence isn't there, and the evidence is contrary to being there, we still have faith and release the intuition, the intelligence, and the inspiration that's necessary to be in the flow. Having a wind down routine, putting yourself in a position to sleep, is critical. And in order to do that, we need to have some mentorship, coaching, or teaching, utilizing the resources that we have in order to facilitate, to make easy our sleep. We got to get our mind, our body, and our soul in a position to recover and reveal. And we can use the cancel, clear, connect in order to facilitate canceling out any negative thoughts, behaviors, words, beliefs, or feelings we may have, or if they're repetitive in their nature because they're stored in the intermediate memory that we have, the subconscious mind. If we then have a repetitive negative thought, which 80% of our subconscious thoughts are negative, we can clear it and practice dissipating the repetition of the negativity that's creating bad behaviors or interfering behaviors or interfering with the flow formula. So we can let go of anything no longer that serves us, that may have been genetically or even energetically inherited from past lives, even, if you believe in that. And then finally, the ultimate aspect of an evening unwinding routine to create the flow formula, to seed and sleep, is to connect while we sleep. We can use a subconscious and unconscious meditation of intentions that you seeded earlier in the day and trust with faith the process of the neuroscience meeting your faith of dissipating or dissolving or disappearing the dis-ease that we create by our own doing. There's so many tools that we can utilize as we work through the alchemy of recovery and revelation, the ultimate third of our lives, which everybody should focus in on. It's the number one non-negotiable in my life. Where else can I get the greatest impact other than improving not only a third of my time, but improving the most important aspect of it in the alchemy of recovery and revelation. I use guided visualization. Easy for you guys to say. I use guided oh my goodness, we got a mind block there. I use it. Here we go. I use guided visualization. That was me. Thank you, G. Sleep, and that visualization is the sleep into the solution. Now that's a faithful trust you need to have if you think you can sleep yourself into the solution to foster the clarity and harmony, the balance, the intelligence, intuition, and inspiration while you're sleeping. Guided visualization, will help you do that. Another one is something that I believe in that's relevant to awareness, which is frequency tools. I use a sound lounge. I use a 8-sleep bed. I use a variety of different frequency-based tones of 528 megahertz in order to formulate this gratitude, these sleep tones, these affirmations that are physiological in their energetic nature to change the cellular structure, just like as if I was talking to water. These affirmations provide a deeper sleep and better REM sleep and provide a greater experience to have the alchemy of recovery and revelation. I utilize environmental cues to create a conducive environment each and every night, no matter where I am, in order to facilitate putting my mind, body, and soul into a position of recovery and revelation. To allow the cool temperatures and the darkness and the digital detox in order to facilitate, to make easy this formula of the flow that provides the easy for the rest of the incremental use of my day. Sleep is sacred. It is an alchemy of revelation and recovery. It is an alchemy. Sleep is sacred collaboration between your conscious intention and the universe's infinite intelligence. It is that wisdom and faith that shorten the distance of resistance that we create each and every day between our heart starting and our heart stopping. As we seed and sleep, we come to the final lesson of the flow formula: to solve, to receive, reveal, and respond. Solving allows us to realize it is merely a lapse of time that exists between every problem that presents itself and its solution. It is just a matter of time. The solution already exists in the struggle. The solution already exists in the mistake. The solution already exists in the setback. We need to receive it, reveal it, and respond to it. Understanding it's just a lapse of time, and the formula that I've created, this flow formula of seeding, of sleeping and solving, will help to facilitate, to make easy the receiving of it, the revealing of it, and the responding to it. The answers that you seek are not created by you. They are already within you. It's just a lapse of time to find them. They're waiting to be revealed. By quieting the noise and trusting the process, you'll begin to receive the insights and solution needed to move forward. When you align with your deeper purpose, when you have a definite purpose, inspired actions flow naturally, which will bring the clarity and harmony and the results, the exponentiality in your life that provides the greatest gain in the divine direction, shortening the distance of resistance for all detours and creating a divine detour, even though the evidence is contrary to where you want to be or not even present. And then the revelation of the infinite time, the divine time. When we solve, when we understand this lapse of time and utilize our seeding and sleeping in order to facilitate it, we awaken into action of doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing it. And the solution will emerge in a shorter amount of distance. When you release your attachment to the problem, that I will be happy when this problem is over, instead of the problem is solved for the sake of blank. and you will shift into the receiving mode, into the abundant mode, into the infinite mode. Awaken into action. Be intentional with a definiteness of purpose in order to shift this mode that most people are in of denial and resistance. We need to spotlight awareness. We need to pay attention and give intention to the subtleties, the clues, the patterns to make better choices with our dreams, synchronicities of that coincidence, the coinciding of attention and intention, and of course, inspiration in spirit of where are we interfering with that. And at that point, we will figure out the way forward, the divine direction. Inspired action beats impulsive reaction. See, it's not the fear that stops us, it's our reaction to fear. The reaction to fear and the resistance to that reaction to fear, to try to go over it, under it, through it, around it, out-logic it, analyze it, lie to it, cheat it, manipulate it, or even deny it. We need to just stop and remind and remember and recollect in the solution, receiving, revealing, and responding correctly at ease in the flow formula. We need to review our journals and get clarity that has arrived overnight, or utilize meditation in order to transcend the information, inspiration, intuition into your day, into your calendar, studying it to say, what are my non-negotiables today? What are my hybrid negotiables today? And what are my negotiables today? And have a relationship, a relativity to the circumstances of each day that you can't control. Align the studying of the calendar with what I do say, think, feel, and believe. Is this in the divine direction of where I want to be? Or is this where other people want me to be? Or what's missing or that I don't have? Creating a new awareness that shortens the distance of resistance in the formula. Take one small action in faith when we respond to fear. Take one small action, and that action should be stop. Don't try to go over it, under it, around it, and through it. Don't try to resist it, deny it, lie to it, cheat it. Just stop and breathe. Get back into the flow. Remind, remember, and recollect that you are a resource of an infinite source of information and energy. You are a source and a resource of infinite information and energy. Practice a stillness when you stop to tune into that inner wisdom that you receive in the combination of wisdom and faith. Here now, we can extract the answers from your morning reflection and receive the revelation of what did I learn while I slept. Shortening that distance, the lapse of time that exists between every problem or every struggle and the solution that exists within it. Creating a better human experience through the flow formula. We can take micro movements towards the solution because things happen very, very slowly, then all of a sudden, because they aggregate, compound, and accelerate upon themselves, whether it be an energy of money, time, or space, all are party to the formula of consistent, persistent pursuit. The 2 minutes of intentional behavior that you spend a day is worth 2 hours on a Saturday. You're not solving problems. You're remembering who you are. You are not solving problems. The solutions already exist in the problems. You're just remembering, reminding, and recollecting who you are and aligning with what's already yours. I'm going to repeat that one more time. You are not solving problems. You are remembering, reminding, and recollecting who you are and aligning with what's already yours. The final lesson, as we seed, sleep, and solve, is one that is clearly misunderstood because of intention and definiteness of purpose and the subculture of grind that so many people don't understand this process of grinding. The final lesson in the flow formula is surrender, trusting the process and letting go. Surrender is not sitting at home high on your mom's couch, sick and broke, dreaming about what you want. Surrender is the final and often most difficult step in allowing the flow to work with you and through you. We are taught to control, to push and strive relentlessly, to grind, to outwork. But in reality, the greatest breakthroughs happen when we release the need for that control. When we shorten the distance of resistance through wisdom and faith, that trust in the timing of life, the infinite time in the divine direction, and utilizing detours in their divinity to learn those lessons. When we surrender, we open ourselves to an infinite possibility. And we allow the universe to provide and guide us. It's so difficult to let go of that control, the need for constant control based off of the fear that we have that there's so much uncertainty. And if we control the environment around us and the people around us and events around us and the situations around us, that we can block the flow of abundance by controlling it. But by surrendering, we can create space for new opportunities to manifest, to provide us a shortening of that distance of resistance, to provide us the information that's already there. We need to trust the timing. It's so difficult to know that things happen so slowly that all of a sudden, I have a 1,000-step guide that I give people. I'll be happy to send that along with this guide to everyone that's interested in the flow formula or the 1,000-step guide. But the interesting thing depicted in the 1,000-step guide and trusting the timing is that I believe everything takes 1,000 steps. And the reason that most people don't get to the 1,000th step is that it takes 90% of the effort, the time, the emotion, and the value, 90% of the time, emotion, and value to get to 250 steps. Then it only takes 5% more to get to 500 and 5% more to get to 1,000. None of the steps are equal. Some are slippery, some are dirty, some are broken. Sometimes you got to take 3 steps backwards to go 5 steps forward. But within that trust and timing, inside of the depiction of the 1,000 steps, most people don't trust it. So 99% of the people will quit before they get to 250 steps because it takes 90% of the effort, time, emotion, and value to get to 250 steps. What's even sadder than the 99% of the people that quit before they get to 250 steps is of the remaining 1%, only 99% of those 1% quit as well before they get to 500 steps, which is only 5% of the time, emotion, value, and money away. And the saddest of the sad is that 99% of that 1% that remains, the 1% of the 1%, they quit before they get to the 1,000 steps. They're so close. But it takes another 5% of time, emotion, value, and money to get their that extra 5% of effort, and they dissipate their trust in the timing. We need to trust that the right answers, the right people, events, opportunities, options, a touch of a favor will show up exactly when you need them, not when you want them or think that they should come. It is this in divinity, this protection, promotion, love, and perfection of the faith and the wisdom that we need. We need to embrace the infinite time, the patience that it requires for things to happen so slowly, then all of a sudden. Sometimes the most powerful action you could take is to do nothing. That doesn't mean sit at home high on your mom's couch, dreaming about what you want, sick and broke. But the most powerful action is when you do nothing to interfere and you allow the universe to work in its own time, still being intentional about what you do, say, think, feel, and believe in its divine direction, but you don't resist what persists. We don't try to go over it, around it, through it, logic it, analyze it. You understand logic doesn't even apply to an emotion. It's impossible to out-logic an emotion. That's why it's so important to understand our intuition and how we feel, believe, and think beyond what we do and say. Mindful surrender practice. Take a moment every day to consciously release your reaction to fear, the need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be separate, inferior, or superior, It may be anxious, frustrated, angry, worried, resentful. Say it out loud. I trust that the answers will come to me at the right time in the right place. Utilize the affirmations of the infinite time, of the patience. Use the affirmations that I am open to the flow of life. I trust that everything is protecting, promoting, perfecting me, and unfolding perfectly. We can write down our worries, our desires, and we can symbolically release them. We can affirm our trust in the process. But regardless of whether we use the mindful surrender practice, the affirmations of patience, or the release of them in a ritual, it doesn't matter, because surrender isn't about quitting. Surrender isn't about sitting at home high on your mom's couch, sick and broke, and giving up. It's about getting out of your own way, clearing the distance, shortening the distance of resistance, and giving up to the flow by doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing every day in the divine direction of where you want to be, regardless of the evidence. Trust that everything you need is already there. You're just interfering with it. Tell yourself, I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am worthy. What am I doing to interfere with it? We need to utilize the full formula to maximize our human experience. When you learn to seed with intention, sleep with trust, solve with the alignment, you create a harmonious flow between your mind, your body, and the universe. And you can surrender at ease, dissipating, dissolving, and disappearing the dis-ease in which we create by our reaction to the fear of uncertainty, our lack of relationship, of relativity to circumstance of each and every day. This approach isn't about forcing solutions or chasing after what you want. I'll be happy when. It is based off of for the sake of what. And it's about tuning into the natural rhythm, the harmonious rhythm of life, and allowing the answers you need to surface effortlessly. Remember, the universe is always speaking through us, offering us guidance through the intelligence, intuition, and inspiration, giving us clarity, harmony, and focus of attention and intention to equal these coincidences, the coinciding of the flow. By embracing this simple flow formula, you'll stop chasing and start releasing the positivity into our lives, moving forward with ease, confidence, and trust, utilizing the wisdom and faith to shorten the distance of resistance, that the solutions are already within us. Keep practicing, stay aligned, let the flow of life guide you towards your greatest success. It is here and now. You are not solving the problems. You're remembering, reminding, or recollecting who you are and aligning with what's already there. Utilize the flow formula to seed, to sleep, to solve, and to surrender. And I promise you, you will make more money, help more people, and have more fun. If you'd like the 1,000-step guide or this guide for the flow formula, just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. David's my first name, D is my first initial, and Meltzer is like seltzer with an M, is my last name, david@dmeltzer.com. Whether you want the flow formula or the 1,000-step guide, let me know. I'd be happy to give that to you. I also want to remind everyone, number one, we have the Well-Oiled Machine podcast coming out Tuesday with the Nick Awam, the Well-Oiled Machine. We will be traveling, as usual, over 200 cities. For all of our members, please join us. We get over 200 different events a year. Every Monday, we have our unbelievable group of people that want to help each other, know people that help each other, but you got to reach out, david@dmeltzer.com. If you're in Vancouver, if you're in Minnesota, if you're in Atlanta, Nashville, or Orlando, it'll be the who's who. Remember, the bigger the stages and the bigger the people, the greater the access you have to a bigger community. That's what we're trying to provide to you and everyone else here. If you want to be alerted where we are or join us, you can text us 949-298 2905. If you do not like to be invited, if you're offended when you get text messages saying, hey, come to Web Summit, the Pivot Summit, the Aspire Tour, to a VIP dinner, a meetup, a holding court, or a training session, or a group networking event, if that offends you, do not text me. Do not text me. Why you text me so much? Because you signed up for text messages, alerting. That's why I'm texting you so much. So this does come with a warning. Do not text me if you don't want to be invited. You can email me, though, if you'd like the free guides, exercises, my book, david@dmeltzer.com. It's right there on the screen. Easy to find, easy to go. Now we are in the flow. Example of the formula itself, the flow formula training. Nick of WOM, the star of the Well-Oiled Machine podcast. Can you go ahead and bring on our first question?
Absolutely. And thank you, as always, David, for another incredible training today. The flow formula, everybody. And as a reminder, whether it's the invitations but not obligations, whether it's the guide or exercise from today's training, or if for any reason you don't have a copy of David's book, which he's more than happy to send you a copy, sign a copy, and even pay for shipping, please just reach out to David directly, david@dmeltzer.com. And the reminders on where David's going to be, make sure to text 949-298-2905. And for our first question of the day, we do have the Meltzer double, of course, no family affiliation, but as he continues to show up more and more in this incredible community, he is becoming more and more like family. Mr. Eric Meltzer, why don't you unmute yourself and kick us off with the first question?
Cool. Thank you so much, Nick. Thanks so much, Dave. So my question is how, for someone that's following the principles that you talked about, the 3 or 4 principles, how often could someone optimally hope to be in a flow state? And because it's like, life ebbs and flows, and and I would be curious to know, like, how often do you find yourself in a flow state, or is it just a constant?
So I look at things differently, Eric, and I appreciate the question because this is one of the most conceptually difficult things to understand. You're always in the flow. What are you doing to interfere with it? So when you take a perspective or participate in a perception that I'm always in the flow, I'm always a part and parcel to the universe that's infinite and abundant and unified in system of what I do, say, think, feel, and believe. I'm in the flow. My perspective and my focus is on what am I doing to interfere with it, and how long am I spending interfering with it, not how long am I in the flow. And so the first step to progressing in this divine direction is to shift your paradigm from how long am I in the flow to I'm always in the flow. What am I doing to interfere with it? So therefore, how long am I interfering with it? And the best way to understand how long you're interfering with it is realize that the instant and obvious information or evidence that you're interfering is your reaction to fear, which is instant and obvious when you're angry, upset, frustrated, guilty, resentful, separate, inferior, superior, frustrated, worried, etc. So if you want to quantitatively analyze how long you're in the flow, you're always in the flow, but you can analyze how long you spend when you're angry, upset, worried, guilty, resentful, or separate. And you could start to work on, if you're 59 minutes a day worried, then try to be 58 minutes worried next week and 57, and within a year or so, you'll be in the minutes and moments phase. So I will tell you that I'm always in the flow, but I spend minutes and moments every day, pissed off, worried, angry, upset, and I try to dissipate the amount of time that I'm interfering with it. Does that make sense?
Far too much sense. Thank you so much.
You got it, my brother. Enjoy your festivities. I appreciate anybody when they are calling in and they got other shit going on behind them. It's a great compliment to all of us that you're doing that. So thank you. Nick of WOM, it's in the 4th quarter already. I went a little over on my over 26 years of trainings, making it easy on the Q&A. We got a big lineup of people that want questions. Remember, you can join us. We have an Ask Me Anything every Monday as well. We have the new Napoleon Hill Institute training on Wednesdays. We can go live and do go live, almost every day that you can ask questions. But if you're part of our private networking group, you can join us, ask me questions, get introductions from me and thousands of people in our group. So a lot of great things. Join our group. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. If we don't get to your questions, great place to get them. All of those different opportunities, options, and touches of favor in our own flow. I'm in the flow, brother. Go ahead. Who's up next?
Absolutely. You are always in the flow, of course, as you teach us. It's just a matter of what we're doing to interfere with it. And we got the incredible Jody, who's up next with her question. And I know Jody's going to be joining us next week in Atlanta for the Pivot Summit and our VIP dinner. So, Jody, we're always excited to see you. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Well, so good morning. And first, thank you both, Nick, David, Colleen, for everything that you do. I am very excited to see you next Friday. So I usually think that, in the past that I was in the flow, and I don't feel, I just recently opened up a new office that has many practitioners, and I'm used to working solo, not necessarily not with people, but not surrounded by so many people while trying to get my job done and serving, clients in the clinic. And it's interesting. My girls say hello.
Hello.
So what's interesting is I'm finding myself that getting re-engaged, and I'm not picking up the dice, but I'm finding myself getting re-engaged and seeing what the universe, what people are doing, like in terms of drama, and I don't know how to be. I don't know how to be around that. And so I'm finding myself in a struggle, protecting my energy, staying in my center, and I haven't picked up the dice, but I don't know what to do with that energy. I kind of check out. And I would really love some guidance. And Fable and Tinkerbell say, thank you, David, Dr. David. Thank you, Dr. David Meltzer, for helping mommy. Okay, there you go.
You got it. Well, I just analyze it under 3 different criteria, and then I make a decision at what level am I going to engage in the people, places, things, or events that are interfering with the flow. And so what I do is I look at, 1, the relativity of the person, place, thing, or activity or event. I see how relative it is, and relativity is meaning. And so if the meaning I'm giving the person, the place, the thing, or the event is interfering with my flow, I take that into consideration. I then also look at the association that I give it. So if I'm part of a group, an organization, somehow I sit next to that person at work, whatever it may be, I look for the associations as well. So I'm going to treat a sibling of mine differently than I'm going to treat an employee of mine, different than I'm going to treat someone I meet on a park bench, comparatively to someone that is in an organization with me. And then finally, the critical analysis determinative upon the relativity and the association that I give the person, place, thing, or event. I then look and analyze what type of feedings am I giving and what type of feeding am I receiving. Now, I used to say, if it feeds you, let it fall away or fire it. If it doesn't feed you. So if it bleeds you, let me repeat that again. I got a little bit of brain fog there. I used to say, if it bleeds you, fire it from your life or let it fall away. But what I've learned throughout the process of learning is that bleeding is a feeding in some respects, especially when my mom was in hospice and in the late parts of her life, it was a bleeding experience that fed me. My children bleed me, but they feed me. And so when I take this criteria to evaluate the importance of people, places, things, and events within the context of the activities of each day, that incremental use of my 24 hours within the longer term of time, which is the time your heart starts till the time it stops, I start to facilitate, to make easy who and what and how I'm doing things, to understand what my now and my next are, so that I can apply my why within the context of this formula. And so as I evaluate the relativity, the meaning of the past of these things, and the association I give them, and how much I'm being fed by the feeding and bleeding, I get greater clarity on the prioritization of what to do now and what to do next, what to fall away and what to fire. And I look for the clues and the patterns and what I'm doing to interfere with it along that constructive evaluation process. And I'd be more than happy to send you and other people if you want that criteria of evaluation. I'm more than happy to do that as well. And I absolutely look forward to seeing you. And I appreciate the acknowledgement as well. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I do, if I may reply,
Yeah.
First of all, thank you. And I would like the criteria because I absolutely need it. I find myself in a situation, I pray. I pray before my feet even hit the ground every morning for guidance. And I don't think, I think that, and so the guidance was get on this, get on your webinar this morning. Because it's about, I do agree, it's about the prioritization. Like, I can't give my energy to this. And so I just have to find a way to eloquently do what I need to do and let them be who they need to be is what I think. Unless, I don't know. That's kind of where
That sounds good to me. Very good.
All right, thank you, and God bless.
Bless you. Keep the faith and put yourself in the position of gratitude and ask before and after you go to sleep. So awesome constitution there. Nick of WOM, the star of the Well-Oiled Machine podcast, the Well-Oiled Machine himself, the quarter of a century of experience, the #1 student of the calendar that I've ever met. Who's up next?
You're making me blush here on a Friday morning there, Dave. I appreciate the kindness as always. And for our next question, I actually want to address one that's in the chat. Kathy was texting and she's asking about Minneapolis. So Kathy, we're going to be in Minneapolis next Thursday, the 29th of May. So just reach out to David or myself directly for the details. David at dmeltzer.com and Nick, N-I-C, at dmeltzer.com, and we'll be more than happy to make sure that we are getting together in person. But as it pertains to our next live question, I'm going to pass it over to the lovely Chris Victoria. Chris, it's always good to see you here. Happy Friday. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. Oh, Chris, lower right-hand corner of your screen is going to be the unmute, and it looks like she may be having technical difficulties. So I'm going to pass it over to Cooper, who I know who's been patiently waiting. Cooper, it's good to see you, my friend. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Nick. Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. My question pertains to the 1,000 Steps philosophy, and it's along the lines of how do you know when you need to change direction versus when it's just a lack of commitment or persistence, or you're just forcing the wrong path?
What a great question, Cooper, because it's a matter of terms and vernacular that people get confused on the idea of pivoting, transitioning. And when you pivot or transition, it becomes circumstantial, which lessens its statistical success because we're making decisions outside of us. And so what we can do to take control is to look inside of us. And so as you determine your commitment to a divine direction, and we align our own skills and develop those, our own knowledge of who and what and develop that, and maintain or grow our desire, instead of thinking things as pivoting or transitioning, we start seeing things within the context of the flow formula of expanding. We are expanding to what is doing well today. We're expanding into what is stable today. We are expanding into what we think is going to do well tomorrow based on what's inside of us, knowing that we can't find or do outside of us what we can't see or effectuate inside of us. And so as we change our perspective inside to the skills, knowledge, and desire and align it with what's doing well, what's stable, what we think is doing well, then we can show or see the industries, careers, and jobs that might be most synergistic to who we are, our essence. And so instead of a necessity of pivoting or transitioning, we're constantly expanding. Ironically, so is the universe. In the idea of infinite information, infinite energy, that's an expansive information, an expansive energy. It's revealed by the awareness or frequency that we have in order to effectuate it, So many of us, once again, are looking outside of us, attaching our emotions to an outcome instead of looking inside of us and expanding our skills, knowledge, and desire, aligning it, finding what's synergistic, supplementary to what's doing well and stable and you think is doing well in order to effectuate the expansion and success, passion, purpose, and profitability that occurs from the lessons of that expansion, which are, by the way, required in the expansion itself, is to learn lessons, to forget lessons, and remember, remind, and recollect them. And so what I suggest you do is get out of the perception of transition, get into the practice of expansion, focus in on your skills, your knowledge of who and what, and your desire, and you will get to where you want to be, or better, faster, with exponential results. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you as well. And I just want to say, Nick, as we take the last question, we have not been to Vancouver or Minnesota in a while, and we don't get there often. So anyone who has friends there, anyone who has associates there, please invite them to come meet us in Vancouver or in Minnesota, especially. We'll be in Atlanta, Nashville, and Orlando, which we get to more often. Please invite everyone for those, but it's going to be quite an event in Vancouver, Minnesota, of course, Atlanta, Nashville, and Orlando next week. So come and join us. Join me, david@dmeltzer.com. And if you want the replay, email me, david@dmeltzer.com. All the comments of people, the questions you have, just email me, show up to our group, join us, david@dmeltzer.com. All right, Nick, it's actually 6:59. So why don't we just close out the room and give everybody a review, get the guides, 1,000 Steps, the formula, the flow formula guide, the books. I'll sign them, send them, pay for shipping, pay for the books. It's easy. david@dmeltzer.com. Nick of WOM, remind people about Tuesday, the Well-Oiled Machine podcast, and close out the room.
Absolutely. And thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We'll let Nick close out that room. We'll close out this room. I want to remind everyone to join us. We have an incredible networking group of thousands of people that want to help each other and know people that help each other. I give advice and introductions, but so does everybody else. We guarantee a profit center for those people in our network, guaranteed. So if you're not ready for the group, don't join. If you don't trust the guarantee, don't join. For all the rest of you, join. All you gotta do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com. If you do want the guide for the flow formula or the 1,000 steps or anything else I talked about, david@dmeltzer.com. Get the alerting text, 949-298-2905. You'll be invited to over 200 things this year and probably even more next year. 949-298-2905. Remember, most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Hit it, Gigi.
Welcome to Office Hours, hosted by legendary sports executive, entrepreneur, and investor David Meltzer, where the brightest entrepreneurial minds in business, sports, and entertainment get together to talk about success, failure, and everything in between.
I have no self-worth tied up in Gary Vee or Gary Vaynerchuk, the entrepreneur. My self-worth is fully and utterly 100% attached to how I treat human beings.
And I think love is the answer to everything as well. Love and compassion and justice and fairness, and which are all aspects of love.
The most important question anybody can ask is, what would I do and love every day, even if I were failing?
Take a deep dive into the mind of some of the world's most impactful guests.
And the reality is, life here on Earth is very short compared to eternity, and we don't spend a lot of time thinking about eternity and what that looks like.
People get new computers, they get the new iPhones, they upgrade their apps. But when's the last time we upgraded, the technology that's created all of these things?
So I always challenge my audience and people I talk to about, sometimes is there a door in your life you have to close for other doors to open?
To share their strategies and tools to dominate their respective fields.
When we repeat anything, whether it's a constructive good pattern or a destructive bad pattern, our brain reinforces it just like a muscle.
All a belief is a story that you've said over and over again. Maybe you caught it from someone else or you had a specific experience.
Know who you are, know what you want, and make adjustments trying to get there.
David Meltzer hosts Office Hours